Chapter 15, the autonomic nervous system and visceral sensory neurons. So, the autonomic nervous system. Initially, we are receiving autonomic sensory information from receptors, sensory receptors. These are usually interoceptors inside the body. They're detecting things like chemical composition of blood, chemical composition of cerebral spinal fluid, with chemoreceptors, mechanoreceptors, being aware of the amount of stretch in blood vessels in the stomach and the intestines. And the most perceived sensation that we get from our organs inside our body is pain. And then the sensory receptors, the autonomic sensory receptors, will then transmit the information to autonomic sensory neurons, although again, sometimes they're the same thing, and then send it to the central nervous system. Referred pain. Referred pain is pain where the organ itself is feeling the pain, but we are perceiving it in the skin or outer regions of the body instead of in the organ itself. So this could be related to, say, inflammation in an organ, to muscle spasms, muscle tissue within the organ spasming, to overstretch. The most common, well-known example is a heart attack. Some people, when they have a heart attack, will feel a shooting pain in their left arm. Obviously, the heart is what's feeling the damage, it's feeling the pain. So why do we feel it in the left arm? Well, it is referred pain. So if we look at this little figure here of this woman, we can see that the kidneys in light blue here, pretty much anywhere in your waist area and on your upper thighs. If you feel strange pain there, that could be caused by the kidneys. We've got the stomach is a little off from where the actual stomach is. The pancreas, again, the heart in a few different regions. The liver, both sort of where the liver is, but also up on the shoulder. What's up with that? All right, the central nervous system has various autonomic control centers controlling the various functions of the body that we are not consciously that aware of. So again, for instance, with the hypothalamus, the beak of the seahorse, it's controlling things like water balance, how much water is volume the blood has, and if it's not enough, then we get thirsty. Controls body temperature, controls hunger. Pons in the brain stem. It helps to control breathing, basically the limits to breathing, so we don't breathe in too deeply. And of course, the medulla oblongata at the very bottom of the brain stem, it controls things like the rate and force of the heartbeat, the various diameter of blood vessels, and the basic rhythm of breathing. If the medulla oblongata gets damaged, not only can we not control the heart, but we lose the ability to breathe, and that would suck. All right, from here we also have various other structures in the brain that can have an impact on the autonomic nervous system and the signals it sends out. The cerebrum, especially the frontal lobe, can affect things we don't normally think of as we can affect. So for instance, if you meditate, you can slow down various systems in your body, heart rate, breathing, etc. Our emotions, the limbic system, emotions have a big impact on various structures in our body that we don't normally think about consciously controlling. From here, of course, we then have to send the signals, the motor signals coming from the brain to the various parts of the body to cause the correct organs, etc., to respond. And so the descending tracts will go down the spinal cord, and then they will synapse in the lateral gray horn. So that is where the autonomic motor autonomic motor neurons are found. So the descending tracts come down from the brain, send the signal to the autonomic motor neuron in the lateral gray horn in the spinal cord. And of course, if it's controlling structures in the head, it's going to go through cranial nerves and bypass the spinal cord. All right, so for our autonomic motor pathway, there are always two motor neurons, always two. So you have the preganglionic motor neuron carrying the signal from the spinal cord and out into the body. Then it'll synapse with the postganglionic neuron that will then send the signal out to the target structures, to the effectors. So two motor neurons in a row. Preganglionic motor neuron, then it synapses with the postganglionic motor neuron that then sends the information to the effectors, to the target structures. And again, a ganglion is just where you have lots of neural cell bodies in the peripheral nervous system. As we mentioned, there are two divisions to the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic division and the parasympathetic division. They both innervate the exact same structures. So we have two different sets of nerves coming in to control what our various organs and glands and so forth do. So the responses they have, therefore, are sort of opposites. So the sympathetic division controls the various structures and causes what are called the fight or flight responses. These are how your body responds when, say, you get very scared or very angry. So things like increasing your heart rate, increasing your breathing, dilating breathing airways, suppressing salivation, increasing heart rate, suppressing the structures of the digestive system, dilating the pupils. And the parasympathetic division is the rest and digest responses, sort of the way your body is when you are relaxed. So, for example, we have things like constricting the pupils, stimulating the salivary glands, stimulating the structures of the digestive system, constricting airways in the lungs, slowing down the heart, stimulating the rectum and the bladder. Fine to go to the bathroom when you don't feel in danger. All right, moving on to specifically the parasympathetic division. It is also known as the craniosacral division because the nerves for the parasympathetic division come out of either the brain or the sacral region of the spinal cord. So again, either the brain, cranio, or the sacral region of the spinal cord, sacral, craniosacral division. In the brain, it's the parasympathetic division is sending, of course, motor commands through various cranial nerves. So through the ocular motor nerve, it's sending out signals to control constriction of the pupil, to control the lens and focusing of light. For the facial nerve, it's sending out autonomic controls to control things like the lacrimal gland that produces tears, and controlling two of the three pairs of salivary glands for salivation. Then we have the glossopharyngeal nerve going out and sending a command to control the parotid salivary gland, the other third pair of salivary glands. And then also the vagus nerve being the most important for the parasympathetic division because it's going down into the thoracic and abdominal regions to control the organs in the thoracic cavity and the abdominal cavity. So they go all the way down through the vagus nerve and then synapse in near the structure and then control the target organs, the heart, the lungs, the stomach, the liver, the intestines, and so on. So basically, we end up with an extremely long preganglionic neuron and an extremely short postganglionic neuron. So extremely long preganglionic neuron going to the target, and then a short postganglionic neuron that then transmits the signal to the effector, to the target structure. The sacral outflow, on the other hand, is primarily for the structures in the pelvic region. So the rectum, the urinary bladder, the uterus, the genitalia. So they end up going through some plexuses and reaching the target structures, and then the preganglionic neuron, motor neurons synapse with the postganglionic motor neurons in the target structures. So again, preganglionic long, postganglionic motor neurons are short for the parasympathetic division. And again, rest and digest responses is what they cause in all these various structures. So out of this list, which is not a rest and digest response, it is stimulating liver to release glucose. We don't have that happen because if the liver's releasing glucose, that is to provide energy for the muscles to work for running and fighting. But we do have constriction of the pupil, we do have relaxing of the rectum, we do have increased salivation for the rest and digest response. All right. I'm going to stop here for this part of the lecture.